Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Birminology on Lettermen Row. I am your host, Jeremy Birmingham. I am joined today by Ohio State 2022 offer and in-state offensive line target Blake Miller from Strongsville, Ohio. Blake, thanks for taking time to be on the show. I know that summertime is, a time for you to be a kid, right? Have you had a chance to do that?
Yeah, actually, 2 days ago I just got back. I was down in Lake Norman in Mooresville, North Carolina, with my friend and his family. So, just kind of getting back in the groove of things, but, had a great time.
How is football shaping up in Northeast Ohio? With obviously the coronavirus that wiped out the second half of your sophomore year of high school, but are you guys starting to get back into the flow of things at Strongsville? Is there a plan in place for you guys to get back on the field? How are you handling that?
Yeah. So actually just yesterday, our whole offensive line as a unit was, just running through just drills, stuff like that, and then going through scheme stuff. And then I'm pretty sure next Monday, we're able to get into the weight room, start working out again. So, yeah, things are starting to get moving.
Have you been able to stay, doing the things that you wanted to do? Are you in a position where you're able to work out and home gym and that kind of stuff, or has it been sort of a layoff for you?
Yeah, I think I've done a pretty good job keeping healthy. I've been going to the gym twice a day, and then every now and again I'll work out with J.D. Duplain, he was also an Ohio State recruit. He went to Michigan State, and I'll just work with him on technique stuff, drills, stuff like that, and just try and learn as much from him as I can.
We started talking about you on Lettermen Row, Blake. I looked before we got on the phone here. The first time I wrote about you was May of 2019. And so we're over a year now from when that started. At that point, you had been on campus at Ohio State for what you told me was three different practices in spring football that year. So clearly there was a lot of back and forth between you and the Buckeyes. It did take almost a year for them to end up offering you from that. In that time, you started to get bigger offers. Michigan offered. What else have you really been doing in that time? Who else have you gotten really to kind of pay attention to school-wise, and who's offering you that has really caught your attention?
Yeah, so I feel like I've been able to build a pretty great relationship with Coach Day, Coach Stud, Coach Cook at Ohio State, but also Michigan, Coach Warner, Coach McDaniels, and Coach Harbaugh. I've got to build a pretty great relationship with them, and also in Clemson, Coach Caldwell and Coach Swinney, just, kind of getting to know them better. So those are probably the schools that have, reached out the most, and I feel I have the strongest relationship.
Like a lot of kids in Ohio, obviously you grew up probably rooting for the Buckeyes. How hard has it been for you to separate that fandom as a young man now to being a recruit? Has it been a challenge to turn that off, or did it come easier than you expected? I got some of the best advice ever, and when it comes to recruiting, and to me that was, if football was taken away from you, would you still want to be at the school you picked? So I kind of look at that, when considering schools. If I wasn't playing football for the school that I go to, would I still, be a happy person and, still feel like I made a really good decision? It's interesting. You said you work out with J.D. Duplain. J.D. was in the class of 2019, and Ohio State offered him late in the process after he'd been committed to Michigan State already.
Yeah.
As a guy that, picked up the Ohio State offer way earlier than J.D. did he give any advice for you about what to really look at in this process, and how has that opinion or the way that his recruitment went, where he's obviously turning into somewhat of a mentor for you, how did that shape where you're at?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely given me some really good advice. He's just given me different ways to look at things. So when I came into this, I thought I was just, going to pick a school right off the bat and that's it. But he gave me good advice. He told me, make sure you think your options through, because you're committing somewhere for the next 4 or 5 years of your life. And, if you just pick it willy-nilly, then you might, make a bad decision and then you're stuck there for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a position as a young man entering your junior season of high school football. A commitment now could be a 7-year commitment. I mean, you're talking about more than half of your current life almost.
Yeah. So
Has it been hard for people around you to understand why you didn't immediately jump on the Buckeyes offer? Because I think a lot of people, Blake, if we're being honest, like you got the offer, you put it on Twitter, and I think a lot of people automatically assume that then, okay, now he's going to commit to Ohio State. But you've obviously purposefully dialed that back, right?
yeah, like I said previously, just kind of going through and making sure I, look at everything possible, everything, you know, whatever I'm at, just look at every single thing there I'd be dealing with and make sure that I'm capable of dealing with it. And, I don't mind. I enjoy, being where I am.
One major part of enjoying where you are is ultimately the guys that you will play with at the next level.
Yeah.
I know that, Ben Crispin has probably begun reaching out to you. Ben seems to reach out to everyone in Ohio. Tegra Tushabola and Jair Brown and CJ Hicks, that they're all aware of you. How important is it for you to have those guys in your ear at this point? And is there any sense of like, hey, if we all agree and we all start this process now, we could build something really special? Or is it hard to resist that?
To me, I just look at it at like, there's always going to be people that want you to go one place, and there's always going to be people who want you to go somewhere else. So you kind of just have to, take that into account because, me personally, I like playing around guys who have a, team mentality, who care about you and you care about them, and you play for each other. But I don't want to, let that kind of blind me from, maybe missing something or making sure that I go to the best place possible.
I mean, as we've both alluded to, it is early in this process for you. There's 2 years of high school football left. When we spoke last year, when we first introduced you on the site, you said your goal was to have a commitment made by the end of your junior season. It seems like you're still sort of gearing towards that. Nothing's really changed in that respect. But what has changed, of course, is that Ohio State, Clemson, Michigan, you're talking about some of the biggest programs in the country. Is it hard as a young man in this position to keep humble?
Yeah, I try and keep humble. My parents always, told me never count your chickens before they hatch because, God forbid something happens, I'm not sure those offers would still be there. So it's not a guarantee until you're there.
Is it too early for you to start really going through and pinpointing like, okay, this is most important. I need this. I need this. I mean, or is it still a matter of just getting to know coaches? Because remarkably, even though you guys have lost this summer of recruiting, the NCAA didn't amend anything to give you open contact with coaches like they probably should have.
Yeah. I'm starting to kind of narrow down like what I have like a list of what I want in a school. So, I want a school with, a pretty good academic program where not just any, average Joe could get in easily and, graduate with a degree. Where, if you're on a resume and you have said college on that resume, someone looks at you and goes, wow, this is probably a pretty intelligent person. So that's something that's important to me. Then also is probably right up there with the academics is just the coaches. So the position coach, I want a coach who's a good teacher and, tells me what I need to do and isn't just kind of banking on you getting better naturally, but they're actually leading you in the right direction and helping you get better.
And I think it's kind of wild, Blake. We're in a world right now where the recruiting calendar has sped up so much that for a young guy like yourself, who's a top 5 player in the state of Ohio, it's almost because early offers came from a place like Michigan. Is there any sense in your mind that, hey, Ohio State was waiting on me or they were slow? Or do you see it from the bigger perspective of like, as an in-state offensive lineman, it's very, very rare to have an offer from Ohio State this early?
Yeah, I definitely, I was amazed that they would offer me so early. I definitely, I would have understood if they offered me later because just like me, I'm sure that they want to make the right decision in offering the people that they offer. So, kind of seeing before they offer someone what they're all about, just like I want to see what a college is all about before committing. So I kind of understand both sides of the coin.
What are you looking forward to the most about your junior year? What is the one area or two areas that you feel like is where Blake Miller is going to take the next step in his game?
Yeah, so I really want to improve on my blocking in space. So, screen protection and then also, going up and blocking linebackers. I just want to get a lot better at that because last year I wouldn't say I struggled, but I wasn't the greatest at it. I could do it, but it was nothing phenomenal. So I'd like to get that, I'd like to become better at that. And that's something that I'm definitely going to be, practicing this year. I've already been practicing it with JD up at the field, and he's, been telling me little tips and tricks as to how to, better block those guys in space.
As an offensive lineman, it seems like most colleges are almost going positionless in recruiting. They see a guy your size, 6'6", 300, 310, and they don't really start to even look at you and say, okay, that's a tackle, that's a guard, that's a center. They want a well-rounded offensive lineman. Do you have a preference in your future where you end up on the line?
However I can get on the field and help the team, I don't care if I'm playing guard, tackle, or center. Just however I can get on the field and however I can help the team.
Well, that's the right attitude to have, Blake. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I told you we'd be quick today. Thank you so much for taking the time to get to know Lettermen Row readers a little bit and let them know you. Hopefully, we'll catch up to you in the near future once the season begins. So stay safe, man. Appreciate you taking some time.
Oh, great talking to you.
That is Blake Miller, Strongsville, Ohio, 2022 offensive line target for Ohio State. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. This has been Birminology on Lettermen Row. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live. We've got the practice report. We got rapid reaction. Hey, and we got Buckeye IQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.